Okay, we've been studying oxidation numbers a little bit. I want to show you how we can use the oxidation numbers of elements to determine what their formula might be, specifically if we're dealing with just binary compounds between metals and nonmetals. What we need to remember is we can determine the oxidation number of an element by looking at what column it's in. For example, these elements that are in column 1 right here, all of these elements in column 1 have an oxidation number of +1. So we can write +1 here. And all of these in group 2 have a +2. And if we jump over here, we have to skip over the transition elements because we know that the transition elements all have variable oxidation elements, or oxidation numbers. So if we jump over here to this group, these are a +3. And then when we get to group 14, it's a plus or a -4 because they either bond ionically or sometimes they bond covalently. So we don't find those elements in ionic compounds very often. Then group 15 is a -3, group 16 -2, group 17 -1, and then of course group 18 is 0. Noble gases don't generally react. They already have 8 electrons in their outer shell. So now we just look at some really basic math. The oxidation numbers, when you combine two elements together, have to add up to 0. So if we want to put together, let's say, magnesium. And we come over here and we see that magnesium is in the column that is +2. So we write down +2 for a charge. And we want to combine that with, say, chlorine. Chlorine is in group 17, which has a -1 charge. So we write down chlorine -1. Now, simple math tells us that a +2 and a -1 don't cancel out. If we want to cancel out a +2 with a -1, we have to have 2 of them. So, another way to look at this is to do what's called the crisscross method. You take the 2 that's up here, and bring it down here, and you take the 1 that's up here and bring it down here. So we need 1 magnesium for every 2 chlorines. So that means we're going to write the formula MgCl2. To double check your math, just simply take the subscript for each element and multiply by its oxidation number. 2 times a -1 is a -2, and 1 times a +2 is a +2. So a +2 and a -2 cancel out. So we know that MgCl2 is the correct formula, and we would call that magnesium chloride. So we're going to do a worksheet here, and I want you to use this same concept. Just keep in mind the oxidation numbers have to cancel out. They have to add up to 0. If they don't, you don't have the right formula.